Alright, hello everybody, and today I'm going to be doing something a little different. So I'm starting to see a lot more people trying to solo GTFO, and I have a bit of experience in this field, so I thought I'd give a little beginner's guide for anyone that wants to try to solo this nightmare of a game. So for my first tip, I'd say you should pick a strong loadout. But your loadout really just depends on what level you're going into. So if you're going into A2, I recommend getting combat shotgun and DMR. I do recommend that you do have a long range weapon and one short range weapon. I think that is the most ideal as of right now. And then for your tool, since you're going to be going in solo, I recommend you do mine deployer or shotgun sentry / burst sentry. Mine deployer is probably one of the better ones, but it does take a bit of getting used to know the most ideal spots for putting mines. And then for your melee weapon, it really just doesn't matter. They're just skins. They do the same amount of damage. They do the same thing. So you dropped into the level when you're looking around the area, looking for loot. And that leads me into my second tip. Be aware of your surroundings. Look for any sleepers that could be around your area, because the slightest bit of noise could wake up one, and it could alert the others. Like, see, there are 2 sleepers right here, and if they're big guys like that, I recommend leaving them alone until the right time comes. Now, this is a perfect example because there are 2 sleepers right next to each other. They are very sensitive to light, so if you put your flashlight over them, they will glow, and you don't want to move when they're glowing, because if you're moving, they will hear you and wake up. So you want to take out sleepers fast. So you want to be in a position of, you want to be in a good position. One way to tell if you're close enough to hit a sleeper is if your circle goes small. You also don't want to touch them, because if you touch them, they will wake up immediately. And one good way to check around the area if there's any sleepers, do a circle around you with a long-range flashlight. But you want to do it quick, because they will get very agitated from the flashlight. So I'm in front of you. And from here, it seems like there's only 2 of these guys, and then 1 big guy over there. So for my next tip, you want to get rid of sleepers fast. Like, you don't want to lollygag. So since these 2 are so close together, you want to make sure to hit them. You want to take them out fast. You need... Ooh, what the heck? I didn't even see you, buddy. So there's another one right there, and I got very lucky that he did not wake up. Unfortunately, there's fog, so you can't see into the fog, which can actually be a big problem. So you see how I didn't see him? That could have woken him up, and he could have woken up the others. So that's why it's very important to check around your surroundings to make sure that there aren't other sleepers around. That could have been a disaster. So they have specific weak points: the back and the head. And it doesn't necessarily take a full hammer to kill them. It's just recommended that you do. Now, of course, you could slip up. No one is perfect. No one's the perfect gamer or anything like that. So if you do end up slipping up, you do want to be prepared for anything. You want to look out for loot, because that is going to be very essential. And if you have, because each pack restores 20% of whatever you are refilling. So let's say to refill, that refills 20% onto your tool. Like it gives me 20% mines, so it gives me 2 mines. And ammo pack will give me 20% ammo. And that varies depending on the gun. Well, actually, I'm not entirely sure about the about the pattern of the ammo pack, you just have to research that yourself. And then the ammo pack, or not the ammo, the med pack restores 20% of your health. So keep that in mind. You really want to scavenge for these, because this will be very essential for your run, because this is not going to be an easy feat. You really want to make sure you use the most of it. So let's say I have a two-use refill pack. I have 7 mines, so if I use both of these, it'll give me 20%. But because it only refills to full, it'll only give me 30%. So I recommend putting down 1 mine and then using it. So let's say, for instance, that some of them decide to wake up. I put a mine there, just to try to mow them down before they can really get to me. So if you think you're in trouble in this game and they're not awake yet, just lights off, stand still, and just be quiet. That's really all it is. It's just a lot of red light, green light. So we want to take out sleepers as quickly and efficient as possible. So one good way to use your flashlight is to flash it. Don't keep it constantly on. If you want to look into the darkness, just quickly flash it, and it won't agitate them too much. So then you have, when it comes to loot, you have 2 slots. You have a tool slot and a pack slot. So then let's say you run into a door, like a secure door. So this is called a trapped door. What trapped doors do is, once they open up, there will be a giant wave of enemies that come out. So this is where the mine deployer shines. How you use the mine deployer, you ask? Simple. You place it on a wall once you get close to it. Now be warned, if you do get caught in fire when it explodes, it will one-shot you, no matter what. So for my tip for trapped doors is placing multiple mines on the door, because this will get rid of a big part of the wave, but because there are sleepers in there, as soon as I open this door, all the sleepers that are behind that door will wake up. So you want to be aware of that. Another thing I recommend doing is just practice fighting things, like wake things up on purpose on a practice run, just to see how these guns work. That's how I figured out all the guns and whatnot. So if you get overwhelmed, that's one thing that you want to do. You want to kite. What kiting means is basically you run. You run them in a circle or in some sort of circuit to where they you're just kind of like running in a circle so that you don't get overwhelmed. So if you run like this, you are not faster than sleepers. But if you run like this, you are faster. So what I was doing right there is I'm running, I slide. And by sliding, you tap control. For me, I have crouch toggle on because you're going to be crouching so much. I recommend having crouch toggle on, because then you're going to have to hold crouch the entire time. So then, it will make you faster if you just... It's not going to be perfect every time, but it does help a lot. Another thing that does help is running and bunny hopping. It's not going to be as efficient as it is in like other games, like such as Gary's mod and whatnot, but it does help quite a lot. So one thing that you also want to do is know the level. You want to know what you're getting into. You don't want to just go into the level blindly. Of course, sometimes you are going to have to go into the level blindly when you're going in your first time, but of course you're probably not going to beat it, because there is always going to be a curveball. The game likes to throw you curveballs and something you're not expecting. And another thing you want to do is you want to conserve ammo. You don't want to just blindly shoot everywhere, because you get very little ammo in this game. You really want to conserve it. So if you can, try to use your melee as much as possible. And finally, just get good. you know? Like, this game is not meant to be soloed. There's no difficulty scaling at all. You don't... Oh! This game does not get any easier with less amount of people. God, he's blocking away, isn't he? This game does not get any easier with the less amount of people. Or it does not get any easier with the more amount of people. But this game is meant... Or... Game does technically get easier with more people, but... That's honestly just the way the game plays, because this game is meant to be played with multiple people, not just one person, which is why soloing is so hard and such a high standard, if that makes sense. Also, you want to be very careful of like ledges like that, or you want to be very careful to not run into those little ledges, because if you do drop off those, that will count as jumping and will make a lot of noise. So you really want to be careful in this game, and that's pretty much the basics of soloing, because this game, it's really hard, but it's really fun. Of course, you don't want to follow my steps, like you don't want to follow word by word, because my way of playing it probably isn't the way that you're gonna play, you know? These are just some tips that I can give that have worked for me, and could possibly work for you. So hopefully this helped out with, for you a little bit, viewer at home. So just be very careful of this game. This game is very fun, very hard, and play the way that you want to play. Don't play like how someone else might play. Because this, you want to play, you don't want to play by someone else's rules, because that will definitely bring you down a lot. So just pick a gun that you think is really good, and just go for it. Honestly, it's just going to be a lot of trial and error. So good luck out there, gamers.